Hello and welcome. I'm your host Misha Bajwa Chaudhary and I welcome you all to this very special show where we get to meet the real heroes, the torch bearers of our society.
Today we bring you news that's not just groundbreaking but also historic. Sri Chaitanya Educational Institutions has set a record in 2023 that is unparalleled, securing all India first ranks in 3 of the country's toughest competitive exams: JEE Main, JEE Advanced and NEET. Yes, a triple crown with AIR1 in all 3. But wait, the tale of triumph doesn't end here. In the JEE Advanced 2023 rankings, Sri Chaitanya's students claimed an eye-popping 80% of the top 5 All India ranks. That's 4 of the top 5 positions. Moreover, they contributed to 50% of the top 10 and top 20 All India ranks. These aren't just numbers. They are a testament to an educational institution operating at the pinnacle of excellence. And there is more to celebrate. A staggering 18,736 students qualified for JEE Advanced. 3,621 Sri Chaitanya students are set to become IITians. And an incredible 20,658 students made the cut in NEET. These figures alone speak volumes about the institute's efficacy in preparing students for the most competitive exams in the nation. This level of achievement is built on the pillars of Sri Chaitanya's comprehensive curriculum, elite faculty, and cutting-edge educational resources. It's not just a victory for the institute. It's a watershed moment for the educational landscape of India, setting new benchmarks that will be the talk of the academic world for the years to come. So, here is to Chaitanya and their exceptional students. Congratulations on this monumental, historic success. Truly, you have rewritten the rulebook on what is achievable in the realm of competitive exams. Proud of living and breathing our brand values.
I was going through your profile. You studied BTech from BITS Pilani.
Yes.
You did masters in IT from US and then you came back to India. We would like to know more about your journey.
So my journey started off with family of educators, right? My parents both are doctors and they have a deep passion for education even from the beginning. I think they come from a very modest background where they believe education is the way to make a path forward and make a career for anyone, to elevate yourself to a good economic background where you don't have to worry about smaller things. I think that's the background and the fundamental of how we grew up and the family we came from.
Kids, when they're kids, they do not want to take up their parents' profession or their business. So were you always prepared mentally that you would end up with this place?
Not really. It was always an option. You know, for 38 years it's been since Sri Chaitanya was founded. And the first 20 years I have been a distant spectator, right?
Okay.
Or a close spectator, I would say. Part of the family that would be our dining table conversations, or constantly every day people would come in, teachers would come in, leave the home after meeting with my parents. So I grew up in that environment actually, because we used to live in the campus itself, on the campus where there are a lot of 2,000 students around us. So it was a very close-knit community, and my experiences, though I was a spectator, I could gather a lot of information from it. But yes, I never had the intent or the determination to come back and take on, and that was never a path for me, or a determined path for me at least. Of course, it was always an option.
Ms. Boppana, you literally transformed the education system. Today, Sri Chaitanya is one of the country's leading educational institutions with over 8,50,000 students in more than 850 schools across over 250 cities in 26 states. How was the journey? I mean, what was the scale at which your parents started Sri Chaitanya?
So my parents started off with a very simple, modest one campus with 82 students the first year. And I think the thought came from the lack of proper facilities for girl students to stay in a campus, study and finish everything that they need to do and attempt competitive exams to go into either engineering or medical. I think at that point of time there was no integrated curriculum or no residential system for 11th and 12th, which we call, in Andhra, junior colleges. So we did not have that system at that point of time. So it was really innovative of them to come up with that plan and start that, and I'm sure it required lots of guts and lots of courage to be able to come from a medical profession and start that.
So it's been almost like 3 decades of successful journey. I would want to understand from you, what's your vision or mission in this journey now?
So our mission has been always very, very simple: to provide affordable education, a good quality education for any student who are inspired, right? And so we constantly look for students who are worthy to sponsor, and students who have the passion to educate themselves and change their lives. And we've been always supportive of that.
Let's talk about youngster. You were saying that the learners. So what do you do especially for the kids who are underprivileged, in a way that they have financial situations which they cannot, for example, they cannot afford expensive education, or they live in remote areas and they cannot imagine living a big city dream. So how are you contributing to their lives?
So over a period of time, we have evolved into contributing in several different ways, right? Because every family is different, every child's requirement is different. And we have boarding facilities also, where we help move those students to boarding facilities. So they are taken care of completely, and the parent does not even have to bear the expense of educating the child, or ensuring that the child is healthy, well fed. All of these factors also come into play. So we have partnered with governments also, where we educate government school students, and we train the teachers, we provide books as well. And we partnered with a lot of government programs where students actually come to us and they stay with us in boarding facilities. So it's like a partnership between them and us. And in every state we have those programs, because we strongly believe in every child's right to education.
So help us understand your early champion formula, as known as, you call it winning formula. Yes. So we would want to understand how you create winners or champions out of those nervous, anxious kids.
So there are 2 parts to it. The first part is students who are already with Sri Chaitanya or have joined Sri Chaitanya already, because then we have an integrated curriculum where, apart from taking care of their CBSE or state boards, we also create these additional advantages of students being prepared for Olympiads. The early champions formula is something we newly launched. It's mainly for students who are not part of the Sri Chaitanya ecosystem, but students who are studying elsewhere where there are no Sri Chaitanya branch, or for some reason they don't want to move. And we totally understand that. They might be in a current school where they have grown up with a lot of friends around and they don't want to suddenly change, right? Kids have that thing. Or maybe that's very close to their house and they want to continue there, which is fine. But year on year, what happens is we see more number of students coming to us directly in 11th grade. And we see the struggle they're going through because they don't have the right concepts or fundamentals from an early age. And that fundamentals make a lot of difference when they come into 11th and 12th and they prepare for these competitive exams. These are high stakes exams which are super competitive, right? Especially for the best of colleges, either medical or engineering. So student who's intelligent and hardworking but haven't been given the right inputs or the right fundamental concepts, or haven't been uplifted to that creative level of thinking while solving a problem, I think that is what we are trying to address there. Because I don't want kids, finally education is for kids, wherever the kid is, we don't care. So if they are not part of Sri Chaitanya and if they are in some other schools, this is a program that we have designed for those kids during evenings or weekends, where they can stabilize their academic fundamental concepts in math and science, and they can work with us in that journey. So that way their their level of stress comes down in 11th and 12th.
So Ms. Boppana, let's now talk about the much talked about Knowledge Hub courses. If you could please elaborate the kind of courses that are offered and how are these courses enhancing the quality of education?
So we have a lot of different verticals within Sri Chaitanya. We have the junior colleges, we have the Sri Chaitanya Techno schools, which is a full-time program where students attend like any school, but we cover all kinds of things, whatever the student needs, CBSE and also preparation for competitive exams, etc. Now coming to knowledge hubs are these centers. They are smaller centers and very well designed for a student to be comfortable post school, and these centers are for kids who are attending other schools. And if they want to continue in those schools, in the evenings they can come to us for 4 days a week, for 3 hours a day, or the weekends. And they can access all our coaching materials. It's mainly coaching centers they are.
Let's now talk about the much talked about or the necessity of this day and age, online education. Do you see it as the future of education, or do you think it's just a transitional phase and it will phase out, eventually we'll go back to the old methods?
So what happened during COVID time is a transitional phase for sure. Everyone panicked and there were few companies offering all sorts of things. Now how much outcomes have been created to from that is the question, because we are a very outcome based organization. We constantly measure when a student came to us, what level was he in, and when he exits Sri Chaitanya, how much did he improve. So when coming back to your question, I think there are advantages and disadvantages of it. Digital learning and online education will definitely be there. I don't think it's going to go away. It will evolve. And blended learning has several advantages. Even in the classroom, a teacher right now, Sri Chaitanya teachers are using smart boards to make sure they use a lot of 3D videos or a lot of videos to demonstrate and teach students. That's also part of blended learning. Yeah. And students who are day students, if they are at home and have to reach a teacher for some doubts clarification or some counseling they need, they can approach the teachers through that. So there are specific advantages of this hybrid learning or blended learning that it's called. But digital will stay for sure.
All right. So, though you've already touched upon the future plans of Sri Chaitanya Education Institution, but let's say if you have to put it in one line, what is your target for 2025, let's say?
We are working towards a vision now. By 2025, we expect to have 25 lakh learners, either in Sri Chaitanya schools or through the digital Infinity Learn. We want to reach out to at least 25 lakh learners. And we have a target of 1,000 schools, which we are very close to achieving. We are, I think, 100 schools short now. And by 2025, we will definitely achieve that. We are present now in every state in the country, or most states in the country. By 2025, definitely, I think every city will have Sri Chaitanya schools. So the access for education should increase.
Fabulous. Now coming back to you, Ms. Boppana, we would of course want to ask you one question, but with two perspectives that we want to gain from you. One is because you've been working, and how do you strike because women do have a lot more pressure in terms of managing the family and then work. So how are you creating that work-life perfect balance? And the other thing, what would you have to say about women empowerment? Because you are an empowered woman. What do you have to say to all the women out there trying to make a mark for themselves?
Work-life balance, I think, is overrated, frankly, and it's not easy to achieve. Let me tell you, it's quite challenging.
Is it even achievable?
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on what you want, right? Because every woman will have a different way of looking at work-life balance. It's definitely not easy. It's quite confusing at times, and I'm sure every woman who is working will constantly think of, am I doing the right thing for my family? I think that's the question that will always keep bothering any working female, right, in the world. But that's okay. Who says you have to be perfect at everything? Correct. Right? It doesn't have to be that way. As long as you have the passion for what you're doing and you're doing the right thing and you're creating that impact wherever you are, and at home, if you're loving and caring and if you know how to prioritize, it's okay. The family will understand. And that way I've been blessed with such a family. My parents or in-laws or my husband or kids, all of them want me to work. Maybe they're scared of me staying at home, I don't know, but they are always willing to let me go to work. They're not moody, they don't ask too much. But I think it's important for every woman to be at peace with themselves and to prioritize also. Finally it comes to prioritizing. You can't do it all. Even for a woman who stays at home, can't do it all. There is always a priority. You need to decide, okay, what is important to me and where should I be? How is this time better utilized?
Ms. Boppana, thank you so much for joining us today. Your work is an inspiration to all of us, and to all our viewers. Thank you for joining us.